Freedom means the ability to say yes when a yes is necessary, to say no when a no is necessary, and sometimes to keep quiet when nothing is necessary, to remain in silence, to say nothing. When all these possible dimensions are within reach, there is freedom. Freedom is a three-dimensional phenomenon. The first dimension is physical. You can be physically enslaved, and for thousands of years, humans have been sold in the market like any other commodity. Slaves have existed throughout the entire world. They were not granted human rights. They were not truly accepted as human beings. They were considered subhuman. In India, there are Shudras, untouchables. A large part of India still lives in slavery. There are still areas of the country where these people cannot study. They cannot hold other professions than those stipulated by tradition 5,000 years ago. Even touching them is considered to make you impure. You have to bathe immediately. Even if you do not touch the person, but only their shadow, even then you have to take a bath. And all over the world, a woman's body is not considered equal to a man's body. She is not as free as a man. In China, for centuries, a husband had the right to kill his wife without being punished, because his wife was his possession. Just as you can break your chair or burn down your house, because it is your chair, it is your house. So it was with your wife. In Chinese law, there was no punishment for a husband if he killed his wife, because it was thought that she had no soul. She was merely a reproductive mechanism, a factory for producing children. So there is physical slavery, and there is physical freedom, that your body is not in chains, that it is not categorized as inferior to anyone else's, that there is an equality as far as the body is concerned. But even today, this freedom does not exist everywhere. There is less and less of it, but it has not yet completely disappeared. Freedom of the body means that there is no distinction between black and white, that there is no distinction between man and woman, that there is no distinction of any kind regarding bodies. No one is pure, no one is impure. All bodies are the same. This is the very foundation of freedom. The second dimension is psychological freedom. There are very few individuals in the world who are psychologically free, because if you are a Muslim, you are not psychologically free. If you are a Hindu, you are not psychologically free. The entire way we educate children is to make them slaves, slaves to political ideologies, social ideologies, religious ideologies. We do not give them any opportunity to think for themselves, to search for themselves. We force their minds into a certain mold. We clutter their minds with things in which even we do not have much experience. Parents teach children that God exists, and they know nothing of God. They tell their children that there is a heaven and there is a hell, and they know nothing of heaven and hell. You are teaching your children things that you do not know yourselves. You are simply conditioning their minds because your minds were conditioned by your parents. In this way, the disease continues from generation to generation. Psychological freedom will be possible when children are allowed to grow, when they are helped to develop more intellect, more intelligence, more awareness, more alertness. They will not be given any belief. They will not be taught any kind of faith. Instead, they will be given every possible incentive to search for the truth. And they will be reminded from the beginning, your own truth, what you discover yourself, will set you free. Nothing else can do that for you. Truth cannot be borrowed. It cannot be studied in books. No one can inform you about it. You yourself have to sharpen your intelligence to be able to investigate existence and discover it. If a child is left open, receptive, alert, and is given the incentive to search, they will have psychological freedom. And with psychological freedom comes a tremendous responsibility. You do not have to teach it. It comes as the shadow of psychological freedom, and they will be grateful to you. Otherwise, every child is angry with their parents because they have spoiled them. They have destroyed their freedom. They have conditioned their mind. Even before they asked any question, they filled their mind with answers that are all false because they are not based on their own experience. The whole world lives in psychological slavery. And the third dimension is ultimate freedom, which is knowing that you are not the body, knowing that you are not the mind, knowing that you are only pure consciousness. That knowledge comes with meditation. It separates you from the body. It separates you from the mind. And finally, only you remain as pure awareness, as pure consciousness. That is spiritual freedom. These are the three basic dimensions of freedom for the individual. The collective has no soul. The collective has no mind. The collective does not even have a body. It is only a name. It is only a word. For the collective, there is no need for freedom. When all individuals are free, the collective will be free. But we are very impressed by words, so much so that we forget that words have no substance. The collective, society, community, religion, the church are only words. There is nothing real behind them. I remember a little story. In Alice in Wonderland, Alice goes to the Queen's palace. When she arrives, the Queen asks her, "Did you meet a messenger when you were on your way to me?" "Nobody," the girl replies. The Queen thought that nobody was somebody, so she asked, "But then, why hasn't nobody arrived yet?" "Madam, nobody is nobody," Alice replied. "Don't be silly." "I understand. Nobody must be nobody, but he should have arrived before you." "It seems that nobody walks more slowly than you," said the Queen. "That is totally wrong. Nobody walks faster than I do," Alice stated. The dialogue continues in that tone. Throughout it all, nobody becomes somebody, and Alice finds it impossible to convince the Queen that nobody is not someone. The collective, society, all of those are just words. What really exists is the individual. Otherwise, there will be a problem. What is the freedom of a Rotary Club? What is the freedom of the Lions Club? They are only names. The collective is a very dangerous idea. In the name of the collective, the individual, the real, has always been sacrificed. I am absolutely against it. Nations have been sacrificing individuals in the name of the nation, and nation is just a word. The lines you have drawn on the map are not anywhere on the earth. They are simply your game. But fighting for those lines you have drawn on the map, millions of people have died, real people dying for unreal lines. And you turn them into heroes, national heroes. This idea of the collective must be abolished completely. Otherwise, in one way or another, we will continue sacrificing the individual. We have sacrificed the individual even in the name of religion, in religious wars. A Muslim who dies in a religious war knows he is guaranteed paradise. The priest has told him, "If you die for Islam, you are guaranteed paradise, with all the pleasures you could have ever imagined or dreamed of. And the person you have killed will also reach paradise, because a Muslim killed them. It is a privilege for them, so you do not need to feel guilty for having killed a man." Christians have crusades, a jihad, a religious war, and they kill thousands of people. They burn human beings alive. For what? For some collective. For Christianity, for Buddhism, for Hinduism, for communism, for fascism, for anything. The individual can be sacrificed for any word that represents a collective. There is no reason for the collective even to exist. Individuals are enough. And if individuals have freedom, if they are psychologically free, if they are spiritually free, then, naturally, the collective will be spiritually free. The collective is composed of individuals, not vice versa. It has been said that the individual is only a part of the collective. That is not true. The individual is not just a part of the collective. The collective is only a symbolic word to designate individuals who come together. They are not parts of anything. They remain independent. They remain organically independent. They do not become parts of a collective. If we truly want a world of freedom, we must understand that in the name of the collective, so many massacres have happened that it is time to stop. All collective names should lose the grandeur they have had in the past. Individuals should be the highest value. Having freedom asterisk from asterisk something is not true freedom. Having freedom asterisk to asterisk do whatever you want is also not the freedom I am referring to. My vision of freedom is being yourself. It is not a question of being freed from something. That freedom will not be freedom because it is still given to you. It has a cause. That which you felt dependent upon is still present in your freedom. You are tied to it. Without it, you would not have been free. The freedom to do whatever you want is also not freedom, because wanting, desiring to do something arises from the mind, and the mind is your bondage. True freedom arises from choiceless awareness, but when there is choiceless awareness, freedom neither depends on something nor depends on doing something. The freedom that results from choiceless awareness is the freedom to simply be yourself. And you are already yourself. You are born with it, so it does not depend on anything else. No one can give it to you, and no one can take it away. A sword can cut off your head, but it cannot cut your freedom, your being. It is another way of saying that you are centered, rooted in your natural, existential being. It has nothing to do with the external. Freedom with respect to something depends on the external. Freedom to do something also depends on the external. The freedom to be supremely pure does not have to depend on anything outside of you. You are born as freedom. It is just that you have been conditioned to forget it. Layers and layers of conditioning have turned you into a puppet. The strings are in someone else's hands. If you are a Christian, you are a puppet. Your strings are in the hands of a God who does not exist. So to give you the feeling that God exists, there are prophets, messiahs, who represent God. They represent no one. They are simply egoistic people. And the ego even wants to reduce you to being a puppet. They tell you what you have to do. They give you 10 commandments. They give you your personality, that you are Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Muslim. They give you your supposed knowledge. And naturally, under the great burden they begin to give you from the very beginning of your childhood, the massive burden you carry beneath it, hidden, repressed, is your natural being. If you can throw off all conditioning, if you can think that you are neither communist nor fascist, nor Christian nor Muslim, that is freedom. You are not born Christian or Muslim. You were born simply pure, innocent consciousness. Returning to that purity, to that innocence, to that consciousness is what I call freedom. Freedom is the ultimate experience of life. There is nothing above that. And from freedom, many flowers bloom within you. Love is the flowering of your freedom. Compassion, another flowering of your freedom. Everything that is valuable in life blooms in the innocent, natural state of your being. So do not associate freedom with independence. Independence is naturally asterisk from asterisk something, asterisk from asterisk someone. Do not associate freedom with doing what you want to do, because that is your mind, not you. By wanting to do something, by desiring to do something, you are in the captivity of your wanting and your desiring. With the freedom I speak of, you simply are, in absolute silence, serenity, beauty, bliss. Now you must understand the roots of slavery. First, to be totally free, one needs to be totally conscious, because our slavery is rooted in our unconsciousness. It does not come from the outside. No one can take away your freedom. They can annihilate you, but your freedom cannot be snatched from you unless you surrender it. Ultimately, it is always your desire not to be free that makes you stop being free. It is your desire to be dependent, your desire to leave the responsibility of being yourself that makes you stop being free. The moment you assume responsibility for yourself, remember that it is not all a bed of roses. There are thorns. It is not all sweet. There are many bitter moments. The sweet is always balanced with the bitter. They always come in the same proportion. Roses are balanced by thorns, days by nights, summer by winters. Life maintains a balance between opposite poles. So whoever is willing to accept the responsibility of being themselves, with all their beauty, bitterness, their joys and agonies, can be free. Only such a person can be free. Live it in all its agony and all its ecstasy. Both are yours. And always remember, ecstasy cannot live without agony. Life cannot exist without death, and joy cannot exist without sadness. That is how things are. Nothing can be done about it. That is nature itself, the Tao itself of things. Accept the responsibility of being yourself just as you are, with all that is good, and with all that is bad, with all that is beautiful, and all that is not beautiful. In that acceptance, a transcendence happens and one becomes free. Social norms seem to be a basic necessity for human beings. However, no society has ever helped man to realize himself. It is a very complex matter, but also very fundamental. In all of existence, only man needs norms. No other animal needs norms. The first thing to understand is that norms are artificial. The reason man needs them is that he has stopped being an animal, but is not yet human. He is in a limbo. That is what creates the need for all the norms. If he were an animal, there would be no need. Animals live perfectly well without norms, constitutions, laws, courts. If man truly becomes human not just nominally, but in reality, he will not need any norms. Very few people have realized themselves so far. For example, for men like Socrates, Zarathustra, Bodhidharma, there is no need for any norm. They are alert enough not to harm anyone. There is no need for any law, for any constitution. If the whole society evolves to be authentically human, there will be love, but there will be no law. The problem is that man needs norms, laws, governments, courts, armies, a police force, because he has lost the natural conduct of an animal and has not yet regained a new natural state. He is right in between. He is nowhere. He is a chaos. To control that chaos, all these things are necessary. The problem becomes more complex because the forces that have developed to control man religions, states, courts have become very powerful. They had to be given power. Otherwise, how were they going to control people? So we fell into a kind of slavery by our own initiative. Now that those institutions have become powerful, they do not want to give up their vested interests. They do not want man to evolve. Remember, society disappears if man evolves. If the individual evolves, society dissolves. Society exists only because the individual is not allowed to evolve. All these powers have been controlling man for centuries and enjoying their power and prestige. They are not willing to let man evolve, to let man develop to the point where they and their institutions become useless. There are many situations that will help you understand. It happened in China. 25 centuries ago. Lao Tzu was very famous, a sage, undoubtedly one of the wisest men of all time. The Emperor of China very humbly asked him to be the head of his supreme court, because no one could guide the laws of the country better than him. He tried to convince the emperor, "I am not the right person," but the emperor kept insisting. Lao Tzu said, "If you do not want to listen to me, spending just one day in the court will convince you that I am not the right person, because the system is wrong." Out of humility, he was not telling him the full truth. Either I can exist, or your law and order and society can exist. So let's try. On the first day, a thief was brought to the court who had stolen almost half the fortune of the richest man in the capital. Lao Tzu heard the case and then said that both the thief and the richest man should go to jail for 6 months. "What are you saying?" "I have been robbed, I have been plundered. What kind of justice is this, that you are sending me to jail for the same period of time as the thief?" said the rich man. "Certainly, I am not being fair to the thief. You have more need to be in jail because you have accumulated so much money for yourself. You have deprived so many people of money. Thousands of people are in misery, and you keep accumulating more and more money. For what? Your own greed is creating these thieves. You are responsible. The first crime is yours," replied Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu's logic is absolutely clear. If there is going to be too many poor people and only a few rich, thieves cannot be avoided, robberies cannot be avoided. The only way to avoid them is to have a society in which everyone has enough to satisfy their needs, and no one accumulates unnecessarily just out of greed. Before you send me to jail, I want to see the emperor, because this is not according to the Constitution. This is not according to the law of the land, protested the rich man. That is the fault of the Constitution and the fault of the law of the land. I am not responsible. Go see the emperor, replied Lao Tzu. The rich man told the emperor, "Listen, this man should be deposed from his post immediately. He is dangerous. Today I am going to jail. Tomorrow you will be in jail. If you want to save yourself, this man must be kicked out. He is absolutely dangerous, and he is very rational. What he says is correct. I can understand it, but he will destroy us." The emperor understood perfectly well. If this rich man is a criminal, then I am the greatest criminal in the country. Lao Tzu will not hesitate to send me to jail. Lao Tzu was relieved of his post. He said, "I tried to tell you before. You are wasting my time unnecessarily. I told you I am not the right person. The reality is that your society, your law, and your constitution are not right. You need wrong people to run this wrong system. The problem is that the forces we created to prevent man from falling apart into chaos are now so powerful that they do not want to leave you free to grow. Because if you are able to grow, to become an individual alert, awake, and conscious, there will be no need for all these people. They will lose their jobs, and with their jobs, they will lose their prestige, their power, their leadership, their priesthood, their papacy. Everything will disappear. So those who were necessary at the beginning for protection have become the enemies of humanity. My approach is not to fight those people, because they are powerful, they have armies, they have money, they have everything. You cannot fight them. They will destroy you. The only way out of this mess is to silently begin to develop your own consciousness, which they cannot prevent with any force. In fact, they cannot even know what is going on inside you. I offer you the alchemy of inner transformation. Change your inner being. And the moment you have changed, that you have completely transformed yourself, suddenly you will see that you are out of your prison. You are no longer a slave. You were a slave because of your chaos. Texto predeterminadoit happened in the Russian Revolution. The day the revolution succeeded, a woman was walking in Moscow in the middle of the road. A policeman said to her, "This is not right. You cannot walk in the middle of the road." "Now we are free," she stated. Even if you are free, you will have to follow the traffic rules. Otherwise, it will be impossible. If cars and people go wherever they want, turning where they want, ignoring the traffic lights, people will simply get involved in accidents. They will die. Texto predeterminad, office will make the army come to enforce the law that you have to go on the right or on the left, depending on what has been chosen in the country, but no one can go in the middle. Then, at gunpoint, you will have to obey the rules. I always remember that woman. She is very symbolic. Freedom does not mean chaos. Freedom means more responsibility. So much responsibility that no one needs to interfere in your life. There is no need to do anything. The government does not need to interfere with you. The police do not need to interfere with you. The law has nothing to do with you. You are simply outside of their world. This is my approach. If humanity truly wants to be transformed, each individual should begin to grow on their own. And in fact, a crowd is not needed for growth. Growth is like a child growing in a mother's womb. No crowd is necessary. The mother simply has to be careful. A new man must be born in you. You have to become the womb of a new human being. No one will know, and it is better that no one knows. You simply continue doing your ordinary tasks, living in the ordinary world, being normal and ordinary, not becoming a revolutionary, a reactionary, a punk, or a skinhead. That is not going to help. That is pure stupidity. I understand it is due to frustration, but it is still insane. This society is insane, and out of frustration, you lose your mind? If the individual grows, society will decline. The way society has been known with government, with the army, with courts, with policemen, with jails, this society will decline. Certainly, as there are so many human beings, new forms of collective will have to be created. I would not like to call them society to avoid confusion between the words. I call the new collective a commune. The word is significant. It means a place where people do not just live together, but where people are in deep communion. Living together is one thing. We are doing it. In every city, in every town, thousands of people live together. But what kind of union is there? People do not even know their neighbors. Thousands of people live in the same skyscraper, and they never come to know that they are living in the same house. It is not union because there is no communion. It is simply a mass of people, not a community. So I would like to replace the word society with the word commune. Society has been based on certain principles. It will be necessary to eliminate them. Otherwise, society will not disappear. The first and most important unit of society has been the family. If the family remains as it is, society cannot disappear. The church cannot disappear. Therefore, religions cannot disappear. And then we will not be able to create one world, one humanity. The family is psychologically anachronistic. It is not that it has always existed. There was a time when there was no family. People lived in tribes. The family arose due to private property. There were powerful people who accumulated more wealth than the rest and decided to inherit it to their children. Until then, the family had not been important. Men and women came together out of love. There was no marriage or family. But once property arose, man became very possessive toward woman. He also turned woman into part of his property. In Indian languages, in fact, woman is called property. In China, woman was property to such an extent that if a husband killed his wife, there was no law to punish him. No crime was committed. Anyone is completely free to destroy their property. You can burn your furniture. You can burn your house. It is not a crime. It is your house. You can kill your wife. With private property, woman also became private property, and all kinds of strategies were put into practice so that man could be absolutely sure that the child born to his wife was really his. However, this is a difficult problem. The father can never be absolutely sure. Only the mother knows. But the father created all kinds of barriers to prevent the woman's mobility, so that she could not get in contact with other men. All possibilities and all doors were closed to her. It is not a coincidence that only older women enter churches and temples, because for centuries that was the only place they were allowed to go, knowing perfectly well that the church is the protector of the family. The church knows very well that if the family disappears, the church disappears. And of course, the church is the last place where any romantic adventure could happen. They have taken all kinds of precautions. And the priest has to be celibate. These are guarantees. The priest is celibate. He is against sex. He is against women in different ways in the different religions. A Jain monk cannot touch a woman. In fact, a woman must not come within 8 feet of a Jain monk. A Buddhist monk is not allowed to touch a woman. There are religions that do not allow women to enter their religious places, or they have partitions to separate them. Men occupy the main part of the temple or the mosque. Women have a small corner, but separate. Men cannot even see them. Meeting anyone is impossible. Many religions, like Islam, have covered the faces of their women. The faces of Muslim women have turned pale because they never see the sunlight. Their faces are covered. Their bodies are covered in every possible way. The woman should not receive an education because studies give people strange thoughts. People start to think. People start to debate. The woman was not allowed to have a paid profession because that means independence. So she was excluded in every aspect for one simple reason, so that the man could be sure that his son was really his son. Those who were truly powerful, for example, Eastern kings had castrated servants because they walked around the palace, working and serving others. They had to be castrated. Otherwise, there was a danger. And there was danger because every emperor had hundreds of wives, many of whom he would never get to see. Naturally, they could fall in love with anyone, but only castrated men were allowed to enter the palace. So even if the women fell in love, they could not have children. That was the basic thing. The family has to disappear and give way to the commune. A commune means pooling all our energies, all our money, everything into a common fund to take care of all people. Children will belong to the commune, so the question of individual inheritance will not arise. And if you pool all your energies, all your money, and all your resources, every commune can be rich, and every commune can enjoy being alive equally. Once individuals are growing, and communes do so simultaneously, society will disappear, and with it all the evils it has created. I will give you an example. Only in China was a tremendously revolutionary step taken 2,000 years ago. The patient had to pay the doctor only when the patient was healthy. If he fell ill, he did not have to pay the doctor. That seems very strange. We pay the doctor when we are sick, and he makes us healthy again. But this is dangerous, because you make the doctor depend on your illness. Illness becomes his interest. The more people get sick, the more he can earn. His interest is no longer health, but illness. If everyone remains healthy, the doctor will be the only one who is sick. They proposed a revolutionary, practical idea. Let every person have their doctor, and as long as they remain healthy, they have to pay the doctor every month. It is the doctor's obligation to keep the person healthy, and naturally, he will do it because he is paid for it. If the person gets sick, the doctor loses money. When there are epidemics, the doctor goes broke. Right now, it is just the opposite. I'll tell you a story. A doctor went to see Mullah Nasruddin and said to him, "You haven't paid, and I have come again and again to remind you that I cured your son of smallpox, and you don't listen to me. You are the one who has to listen. Otherwise, I'm going to sue you in court," Mullah replied. "This is strange. I have treated your son. Yes, I know. But who spread the epidemic throughout the city?" "My son. So all the money you have earned, you have to share with me." He was right. His son had done a good job, and from that day on the doctor never asked him for money again. Mullah's argument was correct. The doctor had gained a lot from the epidemic. But this is a very wrong system. The commune should pay the doctor for keeping the commune healthy, and if someone in the commune gets sick, the doctor's salary is cut. In this way, health is the doctor's occupation, not disease. And you can see the difference. In the West, the doctor's occupation is called medicine, which has to do with disease. In the East, it is called Ayurveda, which means the science of life, not of disease. The doctor's basic occupation should be that people live a long time, that they live healthy, intact, and he should be paid for it. In this way, each commune could very easily afford to maintain the doctor, the plumber, the engineer, all the services that are necessary. That is the responsibility the commune has to assume, and the people who serve the commune should rotate so that no power center arises again. The commune's steering committee should be formed in turns. Every year new people should enter, and those who were there should leave, so that no one becomes addicted to power. Power is the worst drug to which people can become addicted. It should be given, but in very small doses and not for a long time. Let the individual grow, and let the commune grow. But for now, forget everything related to society. Do not fight with it. Have nothing to do with society. Let society continue just as it is. If it wants to exist, it will have to change its form, its structure. If it wants to die, let it die. There is nothing wrong with that. The world is overpopulated. It can only support a quarter of the current population. So the rotten old heads who cannot conceive of anything new, who are absolutely blind and cannot see that what they are doing is harmful and poisonous, if they have decided to die, then let them die in silence. Do not disturb them. I do not teach you to be revolutionaries. I want you to be very silent, almost undercover transformers. Because all revolutions have failed, now the only possible way is that we should do it so silently and peacefully that it can happen. There are things that only happen in silence. For example, if you love trees, you should not pull on a little tree every day to see its roots. If you do, you will kill it. Those roots must remain hidden. They go about their work in silence. My people have to be like the roots, constantly doing the task, changing yourself, changing everyone who is interested, spreading the methods that can transform, creating small gatherings, small groups, small communes, and wherever possible, larger communes. But let all this happen very silently, without creating any commotion. The individual can only exist if society dies. The two cannot coexist. It is time for society to die, and we will find new ways of being together that will not be formal. It will be more of the heart, the family prevents it. The family draws a boundary around every child. It says, "I am your father, so love me. I am your mother, so love me. This is your family. If necessary, sacrifice yourself for the family." The same idea is projected on a larger scale as the nation. This is your nation. If it needs you, sacrifice yourself. Family, society, nation, it is the same idea getting bigger and bigger. So my basic critique is of the family. The family is the root cause of all our problems. Our poverty, our disease, our madness, our emptiness, our lack of love, the family is the cause. And the family is the cause of all our conditionings. It begins to condition your mind from the very beginning. You are Jewish, you are Christian, you are Hindu, you are this and you are that, and the poor child does not know the nonsense you are saying. I heard a story about a rabbi and a bishop. They lived across from each other, and naturally, they were constantly competing in everything. It was about the prestige of their religion. One morning, the rabbi saw that the bishop had a new car. He asked him, "What are you doing?" The bishop was pouring water over the car. He told him, "I am baptizing it. I have a new car, a Cadillac." The rabbi was distressed, seeing with his own eyes, at the very door of his house, that they were making the car Christian. The next day, when the bishop came out, he was surprised. He asked the rabbi, "What are you doing?" There was a beautiful Rolls Royce, and the rabbi, who was cutting the exhaust pipe, answered him, "I am circumcising my Rolls Royce. Now it is Jewish." This is what they are doing to all children. And children are as innocent as the Cadillac and the Rolls Royce. They do not know what is being done to them. The family is the basis of all conditioning. It gives you the entire past as an inheritance, and the burden, the load of all those things that have proven wrong for hundreds of years. You are burdened with all those wrong things, and your mind becomes closed and stuck, and it cannot accept anything new that goes against that. Your mind is simply full of wrong things. If children are in the hands of the Commune, and I have experimented with this and found it immensely successful, the children are much happier because they are much freer. No conditioning is imprinted upon them. They mature earlier, and since no one is trying to make them dependent, they become independent. No one is waiting to help them, so they have to learn to fend for themselves. This brings with it maturity, clarity, a certain strength. And everyone meditates. Meditation is not a conditioning. It is simply sitting in silence, doing nothing, enjoying the silence of the night, the silence of the early morning, and slowly, slowly, you become familiar with the silence that permeates your inner being. Then, as soon as you close your eyes, you fall into the stillness of a silent lake, which is unfathomable. And because of that silence, you are rejuvenated at every moment. From that silence arises your love, arises your beauty, arises a special depth in your eyes, a special aura in your being, a strength in your individuality and self-respect. Now, someone has asked the following: individual freedom and authority on the one hand, and authoritarianism and dictatorship on the other, drive man's life and aspirations. Please make some comment on this. Society is authoritarian. The church is authoritarian. The educational system is authoritarian. They say, everything we say is right, and you do not need to question it. You simply have to follow it. And there are problems, for example, in the educational system. I have been a student. I have been a teacher, and I know that during the best part of life, a person is destroyed by authoritarian people in schools, colleges, and universities. I have been expelled from many colleges for the simple reason that I could not accept any authoritarianism. I told them, if you prove it, I am willing to accept it. But without proving it, without giving proper arguments in favor of it, without making it a rational statement, I will not accept it. And I face this in every subject, because in every subject, the teachers simply gave a talk. The students took notes, because the only thing to do was to repeat in the exams what the teachers told them. And the better you repeated, like a parrot, the better grades you got. But those teachers found it difficult even to prove small things, and this became embarrassing for them. It happened every day. As soon as they said something, I would stand up immediately, and my questions were relevant. What do you base that on? For example, one of the teachers who taught religion stated that the Vedas, the sacred Hindu scriptures, were written by God. I had to stand up. I said, I disagree. In the first place, you have not been able to prove the existence of God. In the second place, now you are saying that these books, which are full of nonsense, were written by God. Have you ever examined the Vedas? Have you ever read them from the first page to the last? There are 4 Vedas. They are very large volumes. I have brought the 4 of them, and I am going to open them at random and read, and let the whole class decide if this is a statement that could have been written by God. The Vedas are full of prayers. Now God cannot pray. Who is he going to pray to? And there are prayers for such stupid things that it is simply ridiculous to say they were written by a god. A Brahmin is praying, I have continuously performed the rituals. I have lived according to the scriptures, and yet you have not given me a son. Give me a son. That will be proof that my prayers have been heard. I asked the teacher, how could God have written this passage? It is written by someone and addressed to God, but it cannot have been written by God himself. And if this is God's situation, then we should not bother that poor fellow. God is asking someone else for a son, so why shouldn't we also ask that same source? Why should we bother this poor fellow? In the end, the only answer was that every college expelled me. The principal would say, we are sorry. We know you are right, but we have to ensure that the college keeps running. You would disrupt the whole institution. The teachers threaten to resign. The students say you don't let the teachers teach, because every day the whole class is wasted talking about a single topic. 8 months have passed, and the course won't be finished in the 2 months that remain if this continues. They have come here to pass exams. They are not interested in the truth. They are not interested in the validity of any statement. The only reason they are here is to get a diploma. And you are a strange fellow. You don't seem to be interested in diplomas. I said, I am not interested in diplomas at all. What am I going to do with diplomas awarded by people who know nothing? I cannot consider these people my examiners. The day they give me the diploma, I will immediately tear it to pieces in front of you, because these people cannot answer the simplest questions. But the whole system is set up that way. When I myself became a teacher, I had to make a new deal. The deal was that in every 40-minute class, for 20 minutes I would teach the syllabus as it appeared in the books, and for 20 minutes I would critique it. My students said, we'll go crazy. That's your problem. But I cannot let these statements remain without critique. You can choose. When the exam comes, you can choose what to write. If you want to fail, choose my part. If you want to pass, choose the first part. I am making it clear. I am not deceiving anyone, but I cannot continue deceiving you, teaching you something I consider absolutely wrong. I replied. In the end, the vice-chancellor had to call me, and he told me, yours is a strange way of teaching. I have been receiving reports every day that half the time you teach the syllabus, and the other half, you offer arguments that tear down everything you've taught them. So they leave the class as empty as they entered, to tell the truth, more in a mess. I am not worried about anyone. What have they done with me during all those years I was a student? I have been expelled from one college after another, and you can come one day to hear if I don't do justice to the prescribed course. When I teach the prescribed course, I do it as totally as possible to make it clear, I countered. One day he came to listen, and after 20 minutes he said, "It is really wonderful. I was also a student of philosophy, but no one ever explained it to me this way. This is only half of the class. Wait, because now I am going to tear it down completely, step by step," I replied. And when I tore it down completely, he stated, "My God, now I understand what the poor students are telling me. You should not be a teacher in this educational structure. I understand that what you do is absolutely honest, but this system does not produce intelligent people. This system only produces people with good memory. That is what is needed. We need officials, we need bureaucrats, and those jobs do not require intelligence. They require good memory. In other words, you need computers, not human beings. If this is your educational system, then sooner or later you will replace beings with computers," I told him. That is what they are doing. Everywhere, they are filling important positions with computers, because computers are more reliable. They are only memory, not intelligence. A human being has a certain intelligence, however much it may be repressed. The man who dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, if he had been a computer, there would have been no doubt. At the exact moment, at the exact distance, he would have dropped the bomb and returned. It would have simply been something mechanical. But the man who was dropping the bombs, no matter how much they had destroyed his intelligence, would have to think twice about what he was doing. To kill 100,000 people who were absolutely innocent, who were civilians, who were not military, who had not harmed anyone, is that right? Now, everywhere, all nuclear weapons are in the hands of computers, not in human hands. It will be the computers that fight the Third World War. Humans will die. That is another matter. Computers do not care if humanity survives or disappears. They don't care. But they will do an exact and efficient job that a man cannot do. A man might hesitate to destroy all of humanity. A bit of intelligence, just a little intelligence, is enough to ask the question, what am I doing? All our institutions, our religions, are authoritarian. They do not tell you why. Just do it because it is written in the book, because Jesus says so. Jesus has not given a single argument to explain why we should do it. He has not given any rational basis for any of his doctrines. Neither has Moses nor Krishna. Krishna simply tells Arjuna, "This comes from God. You must fight." This is authoritarianism. And God is used, manipulated in every situation to make what you are saying absolutely unquestionable. We have to destroy all authoritarianism in the world. Authority is totally different. Authoritarianism is connected with society, with the church. Authority is something that has to do with individual realization. If I tell you something, I tell it to you with authority. This simply means that I say it because it is my own experience. But that does not mean you have to believe it. It is enough that you have heard it. Now you can think about it. You can decide for or against it. To me, what is important is not that you decide in favor. What is important is that you decide for yourself. You may decide against it. It doesn't matter. But the decision should arise from your own being. If it does not arise from your own being, then you are making me authoritarian. I speak from my authority. Please, do not turn me into an authoritarian, because I am simply stating the facts with all the force and fire I am capable of, so that you see it absolutely clearly, and then you are free to decide. I am not deciding for you, and I am not asking you to have faith in me or to believe in me. I simply ask you, give me a small chance. Think about what I am telling you, and I will be grateful that you thought about it. That is enough. Thinking will sharpen your intelligence, and I trust in intelligence. If you think and your intelligence is sharpened, I know that whatever you decide will be the right thing. Even if you do it wrong once, it doesn't matter. One has to fall many times and get up again. That is life. One has to make mistakes and learn from them, turning every obstacle into a stepping stone. But with me, it is not a matter of belief or faith. With individual freedom, authoritarianism dies and something new arises: authority. Every individual is capable of having their own experiences. Then they have authority, and they can say, I have seen it. I have tasted it. I have enjoyed it. I have danced it. And it is not a matter of me quoting some scripture. I am simply opening my heart to you. Authority belongs to experience. Authoritarianism belongs to someone else, not to you. That is why it creates slavery, not freedom. And for me, freedom is the supreme value, because only in freedom can you flourish, and you can flourish to your most total possibility. Question: is society a real fact determined by the existence of man, or is it a false concept, a conditioning that exists only because man is asleep? Society is not an existential reality. Man creates it because man is asleep, because man is chaos, because man is not capable of having freedom without turning it into debauchery. Man is not capable of having freedom and not abusing it. So it is an artificial creation, but necessary of man. Because society is artificial, it can dissolve. The fact that it was once necessary does not mean it has to be necessary forever. Man only has to change the conditions that made it necessary, and it is good that it is not existential. Otherwise, there would be no way to get rid of it. We created it ourselves. We can undo it whenever we want. How to evolve and overcome the collective, the nations, without falling into the barbarity of individual egos, fighting among themselves? All your questions focus on one single thing. I would like to give you a single answer. I remember a parable. Meditate on it. A great master was sitting on the coast, on the beach, and a man seeking truth approached him, touched his feet, and said, "If I am not bothering you, I would like to do whatever you suggest to help me find the truth." The master simply closed his eyes and remained in silence. The man made a gesture of disapproval. He thought to himself, "This man seems crazy. I have asked him a question, and he closes his eyes." He shook him slightly and said, "What about my question?" "I have already answered it," the master stated. "Simply sit in silence, do nothing, and the grass grows by itself. You don't need to worry about it. Everything will happen. Simply sit in silence. Enjoy the silence. Can you give a name to that? Because people will ask me, 'What are you doing?'" He asked again. So the master wrote in the sand with his finger, "Meditation. This answer is too short. Elaborate on it a bit more." The master wrote in very large letters, "Meditation." But these are just big letters. You have written the same thing. If I say more than that, then it will be wrong. If you can understand it, then simply do what I have told you, and you will know, the master said. And that is also my answer. Every individual has to become a meditator, a silent observer, so as to be able to discover themselves. And this discovery will change everything around them. And if we can change many people with meditation, we can create a new world. Countless people through the centuries have been harboring the hope of a new world, but they had no idea how to create it. I am giving you the exact science to create it. The name of that science is meditation. Now, the problem of God. There is a prophetic saying by Nietzsche, God is dead and man is free. He had a tremendous understanding of the matter. Very few people have been able to understand the depth of his statement. It is a milestone in the history of consciousness. If a God exists, man can never be free. It is an impossibility. God and man's freedom cannot coexist, because the very meaning of God is that he is the creator. Then we are reduced to puppets. And if he could create us, he can destroy us at any moment. When he created us, he never asked us. He has no obligation to ask us when he wants to destroy us. It is purely his whim to create or destroy. How are we going to be free? You are not even free to be. Even your birth is not your freedom, nor is your death your freedom. And between these two slaveries, do you think your life can be freedom? God has to die if man's freedom is to be preserved. The choice is clear. No compromise is possible. With God, man will remain a slave, and freedom will remain only an empty word. Only without God does freedom begin to have meaning. But Friedrich Nietzsche's statement is only half. No one has tried to complete it. It seems complete, but appearances are not always true. Nietzsche was not aware that there are religions in the world that have no God. Nonetheless, even in those religions, man is not free. He was unaware of Buddhism, Jainism, Taoism, the deepest religions of all. For these three religions, there is no God. Lao Tzu, Mahavira, and Buddha denied God for the same reason, because they realized that with God, man is only a puppet. With him, all efforts aimed at enlightenment are meaningless. You are not free. How are you going to be able to become enlightened? And there is someone omnipotent, all-powerful. He can take your enlightenment away from you. He can destroy anything. But Nietzsche did not know that there were atheist religions. For thousands of years, there have been people who understood that the existence of God is the greatest barrier to man's freedom. They suppressed God, but despite that, man is not free. What I am trying to make you understand is that just by making God die, you cannot make man free. You will have to make one more thing die: religion. That is why I said that religion must also die. It has to follow God. And we have to create a religiousness that has neither God nor religion, that has no one above more powerful than you, nor any organized religion that creates different types of cages: Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist. Beautiful cages. With God and religion dead, one more thing dies automatically: the priesthood, the leader. The different types of religious heads no longer has any function. There is no organized religion in which there can be a pope, a Shankaracharya, or an Ayatollah. There is no God to represent. Their function has ended. Buddha, Mahavira, Lao Tzu discarded God in the same way as Friedrich Nietzsche, without knowing, without being aware that if religion remained, even without God, the priest would manage to keep man in slavery. And he has kept man in slavery. So to complete Nietzsche's insight, religion has to die. An organized religion makes no sense if there is no God. For whom does organized religion exist? Churches, temples, mosques, synagogues have to disappear. And with that, the rabbis and the bishops and all types of religious leaders simply become unemployed. They become useless. But a tremendous revolution happens. Man becomes absolutely free. Before I can speak of the implications of this freedom, you have to understand this. If Friedrich Nietzsche's insight is complete, what kind of freedom will be available to human beings? God is dead. Man is free for what? His freedom will be simply like that of any other animal. It is not correct to call it freedom. It is license. It is not freedom because it carries no responsibility, no consciousness. It will not help man to rise, to become something higher than what he is in his slavery. Unless freedom raises you above what you were in your slavery, it is meaningless. It is possible that your freedom could take you lower than your slavery, because slavery had a certain discipline, it had a certain morality, it had certain principles. It had a certain organized religion that looked after you, that maintained your fear of punishment in hell, that kept you eager for rewards and heaven, and kept you a little above the wild animal, which has freedom, but that freedom has not made it a higher being. Nietzsche had no idea that simply giving freedom is not enough. Not only is it not enough, it is dangerous. It can reduce man to animality. In the name of freedom, he may lose his way toward higher states of consciousness. When I say that God is dead, that religion as an organized body is dead, then man is free to be himself. For the first time, he is free to explore his inner being without obstacles. He is free to dive into the depths of his being and rise to the heights of his consciousness. There is no one to hinder him. His freedom is total. But this freedom is only possible if as God disappears, as religion disappears, as the priesthood and religious leadership disappear, we can save something I call the quality of religiousness, so that only religiousness remains alive. And religiousness is in perfect harmony with human freedom. It enhances human growth. By religiousness, I mean that man, as he is not enough. He can be more. He can be enormously more. What he is only a seed. He does not know what potential he carries within him. Religiousness simply means a challenge to grow, a challenge for the seed to reach its supreme peak of expression, to burst into thousands of flowers and release the fragrance it carried hidden within. I call that fragrance religiousness. It has nothing to do with your so-called religions. It has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with the priesthood. It has to do with you and your possibilities for growth. There is no destiny, no fate. You are simply trying to get rid of your responsibility by placing it on something that does not exist. And since it does not exist, it cannot resist. It cannot say, "Please, do not throw your responsibility onto me." God says nothing. You can throw anything onto him. He does not resist, because that which does not exist cannot resist. The same thing happens with destiny. You fail in love. You fail in other matters. It hurts to have failed. You need some kind of ointment for your wounded heart. Destiny is a beautiful ointment, available without restriction. You do not have to pay for it. You can say, "What can I do?" Destiny decides everything. Success or failure, wealth or poverty, health or illness, everything is in the hands of an unknown power called destiny. I do everything I can. Even so, I keep failing. I am following all the moral principles I was taught. Nonetheless, I am poor. And I see that all kinds of immoral people are becoming richer and richer, rising higher and higher, becoming famous. It is all the work of destiny. It gives you comfort. It consoles you for not reaching your goals. It also gives you comfort that if others have reached them, there is no merit in it. It is simply decided by destiny. So, on the one hand, it frees you from feeling inferior. On the other, your envy enjoys the idea that the successful person is only successful because destiny arranged it that way. It has nothing to do with him. He is not superior to me. God, destiny, fate, they all fall into the same category. Ridding yourself of your responsibility by placing it on something that does not exist. If God existed, he would not remain silent. I am continually saying that he does not exist. If he existed, it is high time. He should have appeared and announced, "I am here. Why do you keep saying I don't exist?" But he will never come. There have always been people who denied the existence of God, but he has never made any effort to prove that he exists. Simple things. Edmund Burke, one of the famous philosophers of the West, stood up in a church and said to the priest, "This is my watch. If God exists, I don't want a great proof, just a simple proof. Let my watch stop. You pray, your congregation can pray. Do whatever you have to do. Convince your God to stop my watch, and that will be enough to convert me." They prayed. The prestige of all Christendom was at stake, a single man challenging God. And he had not asked for a great miracle, only a small one. Make my watch stop. And God could not do it. Edmund Burke had proved that there is no God. What an argument! But simple, clear, pertinent. In the entire world, anything you want to get rid of, you keep throwing onto God, onto destiny, onto fate. They are simply different names for non-existent things. Of course, you cannot throw your trash onto someone who actually exists. Patience has a limit. Just try throwing your trash onto your neighbor's property. One day he might say nothing. Perhaps for 2 days he can endure it. But how long will he wait? Sooner or later, he will grab you by the neck and scream, "I am here. You cannot keep throwing your trash in my yard." But if there is no one home, you can keep throwing trash in the yard for as long as you want. No one will resist. No one will come out to tell you, "What is going on here?" Do you have no sense of decency? God, destiny, fate? They are false words, enchantments, nothing more than that. Discard them completely, because discarding them will make you an individual totally responsible for your actions. And unless you take responsibility for yourself, you will never be strong, you will never be independent, you will never taste freedom. You can have freedom, but the price is accepting responsibility in its entirety. I have felt such immense freedom that I feel sad when I look at you. You have the same opportunity, the same potential to flourish as a free individual, but you remain a slave. And the way you do it is by never being responsible. Do you think that not being responsible makes you free? By not feeling responsible for your actions, for your thoughts, for your being, do you think that frees you from all consequences? No, absolutely not. It makes you a slave. It makes you something subhuman. It strips you of all glory. You cannot stand tall. You become a hunchback. Your intelligence cannot grow because you have not accepted the challenge. You are waiting for destiny, for fate, for God. You are thinking, when the moment comes, the right moment, God willing, I too will be blissful. There is no God who can decide your bliss. You are alone in existence. You arrive alone, you die alone. Between birth and death, of course, you can deceive yourself thinking that someone is with you. Your wife, your father, your mother, your husband, your friend. But this is only a fallacy. You arrive alone, you leave alone. You are alone between birth and death. And I am not saying you cannot love a man or a woman. In fact, when two independent, free people who take responsibility upon their own shoulders come together, there is an immense beauty in it. Neither of them is a burden to the other. Neither of them is throwing anything onto the other. You have discarded the very idea of throwing anything. You can be together, but your solitude remains intact, pure, limpid, virgin. You never transgress each other's territories. You can enjoy each other because you are separate. The more separate you are, the more clearly you understand that you are alone. She is alone, the greater the possibility of a grand meeting of two solitudes, two purities, two individuals. The more separate you are, the more clearly you understand that you are alone. She is alone, the greater the possibility of a grand meeting of two solitudes, two purities, two individuals. Forget words like destiny, fate, kismet, God, and do not let yourself be fooled by astrologers, mind readers, palmists, predictors of your future. There is no future if you do not create it, and what is going to exist tomorrow is going to be your creation. And it must be done today now, because from the womb of today tomorrow will be born. Take total responsibility for yourselves. That is the message I give you. That is why I'm continually trying to destroy the God in your minds. I have nothing against him. How could I have anything against him? He does not exist. Do you think I am wasting my time fighting something that does not exist? No, I am fighting your conditionings. They do exist. God does not exist, but an idea of God exists within you, and I am fighting that idea, telling you to discard it, to clean yourselves, and to take complete responsibility for your lives. This is my experience. The day I took total responsibility for myself, I discovered that the doors of freedom opened for me. Both things go together. Everyone wants freedom. No one wants responsibility. You will never have freedom. You will remain a slave. Remember, remaining a slave is also your responsibility. You have chosen it. It has not been forced upon you. This reminds me of Diogenes, a beautiful Greek philosopher, mystic, and a mystic of exceptional category. He was a contemporary of Aristotle, and he was as much against Aristotle as I am, so I have a certain friendship with Diogenes. Aristotle defined man as a featherless animal that walks on two legs. What did Diogenes do? He captured an animal, and there are many animals that walk on two legs, but also have feathers and can fly. Diogenes took a peacock, plucked all its feathers, and sent the peacock to Aristotle with the message, "Please accept this human being as a gift." This man, Diogenes, used to live naked because he said, "Man is born naked, and he becomes weak because he protects himself with clothes." And nowhere in the world is there any animal with clothes, except some dogs in England. England is a mysterious country. Dogs have clothes because a naked dog is not Christian. You will be surprised to know that in the Victorian era in England, even the legs of chairs were covered with cloth, because they were legs, and it was not gentlemanly to look at naked legs. Diogenes lived naked. He was a strong man. 4 people who were dedicated to kidnapping people and selling them as slaves in the market thought, "This is good prey. This man can make us a lot of money." We have sold many slaves, and none of them was so strong, so beautiful, so young. We can get as high a price as we want, and there will be great bidding in the market when we put this man on the auction block. But, they thought, 4 of us are not enough to capture him. He alone could kill us all. 4 people who were dedicated to kidnapping people and selling them as slaves in the market thought, "This is good prey. This man can make us a lot of money." We have sold many slaves, and none of them was so strong, so beautiful, so young. We can get as high a price as we want, and there will be great bidding in the market when we put this man on the auction block. But, they thought, 4 of us are not enough to capture him. He alone could kill us all. Diogenes heard what they were saying about him. He was sitting on the riverbank, enjoying the cool evening breeze under a tree. And behind the tree, those 4 men were planning what to do. He called out to them, "Do not worry. Come here. You don't need to worry that I will kill you. I never kill anything. And you don't need to worry that I will fight, that I will resist. No, I never fight with anyone. I don't resist anything. Do you want to sell me as a slave?" That is what we were thinking. "We are poor, if you are willing," said those 4 men, embarrassed and afraid. "Of course I am," Diogenes stated. "If I can help you in any way to overcome your poverty, it is beautiful." So they brought out the chains, but he said, "Throw them into the river. You don't need to chain me. I will walk in front of you. I don't believe in escaping from anything. In fact, I am excited by the idea of being sold, of being on a high platform, and having hundreds of people trying to get me. I am excited for this auction. Let's go now." The 4 got a little more frightened. This man is not only strong and beautiful, it seems he is also crazy. He could be dangerous. But they could no longer escape. He told them, "If you try to run away, you will be risking your own life. Follow me, all 4 of you. Put me on the market platform." Reluctantly, they followed him. They had wanted to take him, but he was walking ahead of them. Do you realize? Even in such a situation, he was taking responsibility for himself. He was free, even in such a situation, where these people were plotting and trying to sell him in the market, which is the ugliest thing that can happen to a man, to be sold like a commodity, put up for auction like a piece of merchandise. But he said to those people, "Don't be afraid and don't try to escape. You have given me a great idea. I am grateful to you. This is my responsibility. I am going to the market. Put me up for public auction." They couldn't believe it. What kind of man was this? But there was no longer any way to back out, so they followed him. And when they put him on a high pedestal so that everyone could see him, there was almost a silence. You could hear a fly buzz. People had never seen a body so well proportioned, so beautiful, strong as if it were made of steel. Before the auctioneer said anything, Diogenes proclaimed, "Listen, here is a master selling himself to any slave, because these 4 poor fellows need money. So start the bidding. But remember, you are buying a master." A king bought him. Of course, he could do it. He offered more and more money in the auction. There were many people interested, but in the end, the 4 men were given a sum larger than anyone had ever heard of before. Diogenes said to them, "Are you happy now? You can go now, and I will go with this slave. Are you crazy or what? Do you think you are a master? I am a king, and you consider me a slave?" said the king to Diogenes, while they were in the carriage on the way to the palace. "Yes, and I am not crazy. You are crazy," Diogenes replied. "I can prove it to you right now." In the back of the carriage was the queen. Diogenes continued, "Your wife is already interested in me. She is finished with you? It is dangerous to acquire a master." The king was dismayed. Certainly, he was nothing compared to Diogenes. He drew his sword and asked the queen, "Is what he says true? If you tell the truth, I will spare your life. That is my promise. But if you tell a falsehood, and I find out later, I will behead you." "It is true," though fearful and frightened, the queen answered. "Before him, you are nothing. I am entranced, fascinated. This man has magic. You are just a poor man compared to him. This is the truth." Naturally, the king stopped the carriage and told Diogenes, "Get out of the carriage. I set you free. I don't want to take such risks in my palace." "Thank you," Diogenes said. I am a man who cannot be made a slave, for the simple reason that I take all responsibility for myself. I have not left those 4 men feeling guilty. They did not bring me. I came of my own free will. I'm sure they feel grateful. And this is your carriage. If you want me to get out of it, that is perfectly fine. I am not used to carriages at all. My legs are strong enough. I am a naked man. A golden carriage does not go well with me. Take responsibility. And then, even in the most extreme poverty and suffering, locked in a prison, you will remain completely master of yourself. You will have the freedom that comes with responsibility. All religions have been making you dependent on God, on destiny, on fate. Those are simply different names for something non-existent. What is true is your slavery or your freedom. Choose. If you choose freedom, then you will have to undo all the strategies of others that enslave you. That is what I am trying to do here, trying to cut all your chains, free you from everything so that you can be yourself. And the moment you are yourself, you begin to grow, you turn green. Flowers begin to open, and there is a great fragrance around you. Now the fear of flying. Rabindranath Tagore says in his Gitanjali, "Obstinate are the trammels, but my heart aches when I try to break them. Freedom is all I want, but I am ashamed to hope for it. I am sure that in thee is treasure measureless, and that thou art my best friend. But I have not the heart to sweep away the tinsel that fills my room. The shroud that covers me is a shroud of dust and death. I hate it, yet I embrace it in love. My debts are large, my failures great, my shame secret and heavy. Yet when I come to ask for my good, I quake in fear lest my prayer be granted." Rabindranath Tagore is the most contemporary of men, and yet also the most ancient. His words are a bridge between the modern mind and the most ancient sages of the world. Especially, his book Gitanjali is his greatest contribution to human evolution, to human consciousness. It is one of the most exceptional books that appeared in the 20th century. Tagore is not a religious person in the ordinary sense. He is one of the most progressive thinkers, non-traditional, unorthodox, but his greatness lies in his childlike innocence. And perhaps because of that innocence, he was able to become the vehicle of the universal spirit. He is a poet of the highest order, and also a mystic. Such a combination has only happened once or twice before, in Khalil Gibran, in Friedrich Nietzsche, and in Rabindranath Tagore. These 3 people fill that category. In the long history of man, this is extraordinary. There have been great poets, and there have been great mystics. There have been great poets who had a bit of mysticism, and there have been great mystics who expressed themselves in poetry, but their poetry is not brilliant. Tagore is in a strange situation. I have heard of a man who loved 2 beautiful women and was always in difficulty, because even one single woman is enough difficulty. The 2 women wanted to know which one he loved more. They took him for a ride on the lake in a motorboat, and right in the middle of the lake, they stopped the boat and told him, "You have to decide, because our hearts are oppressed. Once we know, gradually we will come to tolerate it. We may accept it, but being without knowing and not stopping thinking about it has become a wound. What is it about? Ask directly," the man said. "Our question is, which one do you love more?" Said the 2 women at once. The man remained in a deep silence. It was such a strange situation, in the middle of the lake, but he must have been a man with a lot of humor. He said, "I love each of you more than the other," and the 2 women were satisfied. That is what they wanted. It is hard to say whether Rabindranath is better as a poet or as a mystic. He is both. He is better as both, and in the 20th century. Rabindranath was not a man confined to India. He was a cosmopolitan. He was educated in the West, and he was continuously traveling through different countries. He loved wandering. He was a citizen of the world, and yet he had deep roots in India. Although he flew far away, like an eagle around the sun, he kept returning to his small nest. And he never lost sight of his cultural heritage, no matter how dust-covered it might have become. He was able to clean it and turn it into a mirror in which one can see oneself. His poems in Gitanyale are offerings of songs to God. That is the meaning of the word Gitanyale, song offerings. He used to say, "I have nothing else to offer. I am poor as a bird, or rich as a bird. I can sing a song every morning, fresh and new, in gratitude. That is my prayer." He never went to any temple. He never prayed in the traditional sense. He was born Hindu, but it would not be correct to confine him to a certain section of humanity. He was very universal. They told him many times, "Your words are so fragrant with religiousness, so radiant with spirituality, so alive with the unknown, that even those who believe in nothing but matter are affected, moved. But you never go to the temple. You never read the scriptures." His answer is immensely important for you. He said, "I never read the scriptures. In fact, I avoid them because I have my own experience of the transcendental, and I do not want the words of others to mix with my original, authentic, individual experience. I want to offer God exactly what constitutes my heart's beat. Others may have known it. Undoubtedly, others have known it, but their knowledge cannot be my knowledge. Only my experience can satisfy me, can fulfill my search, can give me confidence in existence. I do not want to be a believer." These words must be remembered. I do not want to be a believer. I want to be one who knows. I do not want to have much knowledge. I want to be innocent enough for existence to reveal its mysteries to me. I do not want to be considered a saint. And the reality is that in the entire 20th century, there has been no one holier than Rabindranath Tagore. But he did not want to be recognized as such. He said, "I have only one desire, to be remembered as a singer of songs, as a dancer, as a poet who has offered his total potential, all the flowers of his being, to the unknown divinity of existence. I do not want to be worshipped. I consider it a humiliation, something ugly, inhuman, and completely distant from the world. Every man carries God within him. Every cloud, every tree, every ocean is full of divinity, so who should worship whom?" Rabindranath never went to any temple. He never worshipped any god, and he was never, in the traditional sense, a saint. But to me, he is one of the greatest saints the world has ever known. His holiness manifests in every single one of his words. "Obstinate are the trammels, but my heart aches when I try to break them. Freedom is all I want, but I am ashamed to hope for it." He is saying something not only about himself, but about all of human consciousness. Such people do not speak of themselves. They speak of the very core of the entire human race. Obstinate are the trammels. The obstacles are enormous. The chains that cut my freedom, I have become too attached to them. They no longer seem like chains to me. They have become my ornaments. They are made of gold. They are very precious. But my heart aches because, on the one hand, I want freedom, and on the other, I cannot break the chains that prevent me from being free. Those chains, those ornaments, those relationships have become my life. I cannot imagine myself without my beloved, without my friends. I cannot imagine myself absolutely alone, in deep silence. My songs have also become my shackles, so my heart aches when I try to break them. Freedom is all I want. This is the situation of every human being. It is difficult to find a man whose heart does not want to fly like a bird, who would not want to reach the remote stars, but who also has knowledge of his deep attachment to the earth. He is deeply rooted in the earth. His split is that he is attached to his imprisonment, and his deepest longing is for freedom. He is divided against himself. This is the greatest anguish, anxiety. You cannot leave the world that chains you. You cannot leave those who have become your obstacles in life, because they are also your attachments, your joys. In some way, they are also food for your pride. Neither can you leave them, nor can you forget that you do not belong to this world, that your home must be somewhere else, because in your dreams, you are always flying to remote places. Freedom is all I want, but I'm ashamed to hope for it. Why should one be ashamed to hope for freedom? Because no one is stopping you. You can be free at this very moment. But those attachments have dug deep inside you. They have become almost your own existence. They may be bringing you suffering, but they also bring you moments of happiness. They may be creating chains for your feet, but they also give you moments of dancing. It is a very strange situation that every intelligent human being has to face. We are rooted in the earth, and we want wings to fly through the sky. We cannot uproot ourselves because the earth is our nourishment, our food. And we cannot stop dreaming of wings because that is our spirit. That is our very soul. That is what makes us human beings. No animal feels anguish. All animals are fully satisfied just as they are. Man is the only animal that is intrinsically discontented. Hence the feeling of shame, because he knows, I can be free. I have always loved an ancient story. Meditate on it. A man named Benjamin, a great man who fought for freedom, was traveling through the mountains. He went to spend the night at a caravanserai. He was amazed that in the caravanserai there was a very beautiful parrot that continuously repeated, "Freedom, freedom." It was a place of such characteristics that when the parrot said the word freedom, it kept echoing in the valleys, in the mountains. The man thought, I have seen many parrots, and I have thought they must want to free themselves from those cages. But I have never seen a parrot like this, who spends the day, from morning until he falls asleep at dusk, crying out for freedom. He had an idea. He got up in the middle of the night and opened the cage door. The owner was fast asleep, and Benjamin whispered to the parrot, "Come out now." But he was very surprised to see the parrot clinging to the bars of the cage. He told him again and again, "Have you forgotten freedom? Come out. The door is open, and your owner is sleeping deeply. No one will know. Fly through the sky. The whole sky is yours." But the parrot clung so conscientiously, so strongly, that the man said, "What's wrong? Are you crazy?" He tried to take the parrot out with his own hands, but the parrot began to peck at him, and at the same time it shouted, "Freedom! Freedom!" The valleys in the night echoed and echoed again. But the man was also stubborn. He was someone who fought for freedom. He pulled the parrot out by force and threw it into the sky, and he felt very satisfied even though his hand was wounded. The parrot had attacked him with all the strength it could, but the man felt immensely satisfied to have freed a soul. He went to sleep. In the morning, when the man was waking up, he heard the parrot shouting, "Freedom! Freedom!" He thought the parrot would be in a tree or on a rock. But when he went out, the parrot was in the cage. The door was open. I have loved this story because it is very true. You may want to be free, but the cage has certain certainties, securities. In the cage, the parrot does not have to worry about food. He does not have to worry about his enemies. He does not have to worry about anything at all. It is comfortable. It is golden. No other parrot has such a valuable cage. Your power, your riches, your prestige, all of those are your cages. Your soul wants to be free, but freedom is dangerous. Freedom has no insurance. Freedom has no certainty, no security. Freedom means walking on the edge of a blade, in danger at every moment, making your way. Every moment is a challenge from the unknown. Sometimes it is too hot, and sometimes it is too cold, and there is no one to look after you. In the cage, the owner was the one responsible. When it was cold, he covered the cage with a blanket. He placed a fan nearby when it was too hot. Freedom implies a tremendous responsibility. You are alone and on your own. Rabindranath is right. Freedom is all I want, but I am ashamed to hope for it. Because it is not a matter of hope. It is a matter of taking a risk. I am sure that in thee is treasure measureless, and that thou art my best friend. But I have not the heart to sweep away the tinsel that fills my room. You are sure that in the world of freedom, in the experience of freedom, there is a treasure measureless. But this certainty is also a projection of your desire. How can you be sure? You would like to be sure. You know you have a longing for freedom. It cannot be for a useless freedom. It must be for something substantial, something measureless. You are creating a certainty to arm yourself with courage so that you can throw yourself into the unknown. And that thou art my best friend. But all these are beautiful dreams. They are hopes. Certainty is your own cage, your security. But I have not the heart to sweep away the tinsel that fills my room. All these are beautiful ideas of the mind. The shroud that covers me is a shroud of dust and death. I hate it, yet I embrace it in love. You know your body is going to die. In fact, your body is made of dead material. It is already dead. It seems alive because there is something alive inside it. It radiates heat and life because of the guest within you. The moment the guest has taken flight, the reality of the body will be revealed to you. Rabindranath says our bodies are made of dust and death. I hate it, yet I embrace it in love. But when you fall in love with a woman, then two skeletons embrace. Both of you know that the skin is only the covering of a skeleton. If you could see the other in their true nakedness, not just without clothes, but also without skin, because that is the true clothing, then you would be shocked, and you would run away as fast as possible from the loved one with whom you are promising you are going to live forever and ever. You wouldn't even look back. You wouldn't even want to remember that phenomenon. It happened in the court of a Muslim emperor of India, Shah Jahan. He was in love with a woman, but she did not want to marry him. He was a gentleman, otherwise he could have forced her. He tried to convince her, but she was in love with one of the emperor's bodyguards. And when the emperor found out, he flew into a rage. Both were seized and brought to the court immediately. Shah Jahan was going to cut off both their heads without delay. But his prime minister, who was very old, he had been his father's prime minister, and Shah Jahan respected him like a father, said, "Don't do it. Be a little wiser. That is not a sufficient punishment. I will give them the proper punishment." He ordered that both be tied together naked, embracing, and then chained to a column of the court. The other members of the court could not believe it. What punishment is this? This looks like a prize. That is what they wanted, to embrace each other. But they were wrong. The old man truly had great psychological insight. The two lovers were also surprised. What punishment is this? This is a reward. They embraced full of love. They were tied with a rope so that they could not escape from each other. And then they were lashed to a column. How long can you embrace someone? 5 minutes, 7 minutes, half an hour? After 24 hours, they hated each other. They had to. It could not be any other way. They sweated. The smell of their bodies permeated the place, their excrement, and there was no way to escape. After 24 hours, the old man said, "Now give them their clothes and set them free." And as soon as they took their clothes, they ran off in opposite directions, never to meet again. They had already met enough. The shroud that covers me is a shroud of dust and death. I hate it, yet I embrace it in love. Such is the schizophrenia of man, the divided personality of man. His house is divided against itself. Consequently, he cannot find peace. My debts are large, my failures great, my shame secret and heavy. Yet when I come to ask for my good, I quake in fear lest my prayer be granted. These lines can only be understood if I remind you of another poem by Rabindranath from the same Gitanjali. In that other poem he says, "I have been searching and searching for God since I can remember, for many, many lives, since the very beginning of existence. Every now and then I have seen him by some distant star, and I have danced and rejoiced, thinking that the distance, though great, is not impossible to reach. And I have traveled and reached the star, but by the time I arrived at it, God had gone to another. And this has been happening for centuries. The challenge is so enormous that I keep clinging to hope. I have to find him. I am absorbed in the search. The search itself is so enigmatic, so mysterious, so captivating, that God has become almost an excuse. The search itself has become the goal. And to my amazement, one day I arrived at a house on a remote star with a small sign on the front that said, "This is the house of God." My joy had no limit. At last, I had arrived. I ran up the stairs, the many stairs that led to the door of the house. But as I was approaching the door, suddenly a fear arose in my heart. At the moment I was going to knock, I was paralyzed by a fear I had never known before, that I had never considered, that I had never imagined. The fear was this: if this house is indeed the house of God, what am I going to do after I have found him? Now that searching for God has become my life itself, having found him will be the equivalent of committing suicide. And what am I going to do with him? I had never thought about these things before. I should have thought before beginning the search. What am I going to do with God? With my shoes in my hands, I backed away silently and very slowly, afraid that God might hear the noise and might open the door and say, "Where are you going?" "I'm here. Come in." And when I reached the stairs, I ran as I had never run before. And since then, I have been back to searching for God, looking for him everywhere, and avoiding the house in which he lives. Now I know that I have to avoid that house. And I continue to search. I enjoy the journey itself, the pilgrimage. The wisdom in this story is tremendous. There are seekers of truth who have never thought, "What will I do with the truth?" You cannot eat it, you cannot sell it. You cannot become president because you have the truth. At most, if you have the truth, people will crucify you. Rabindranath is right when he says, "My debts are large, my failures great, my shame secret and heavy. Yet when I come to ask for my good, I quake in fear lest my prayer be granted, because these things are good to talk about: God, truth, goodness, beauty. It is good to write treatises on them, have universities grant doctorates, have the Nobel Committee award you a prize. These things are good to talk about, to write about, but if you actually come to experience them, you will have problems." That is what he says. I am afraid that my request might be granted to me. It is just as well that God is deaf. He does not hear prayers. Otherwise, you would all be in trouble. Your prayer will create problems for you, because in prayers you will be very romantic and ask for great things that you will not be able to live up to, and they will become burdensome, and interfere with what you call your life, which, although full of suffering, runs smoothly. Truth becomes a cross. Life becomes burdensome. Truth becomes poison for Socrates. Truth becomes death for Al-Halai Mansur. Truth becomes crucifixion for Jesus Christ. And you pray, God, grant me the truth. Give me qualities that are divine, celestial. But God is deaf on purpose, so that your prayers cannot be heard, and you can enjoy both things, your wretched life and your beautiful prayers. Prayers will not be heard. You can remain full of envy, full of anger, full of hate, full of selfishness, and keep praying to God, make me humble. And as blessed are the meek, make me meek, but on purpose. It is not written in any scripture, but I tell you with my own authority that after creating the world in 6 days, the last thing God did was destroy his ears. Since then, he has heard nothing. And since then, we have not heard from him again either. So it is perfectly fine. In the morning, you go to the temple or the church or the mosque. You say a beautiful prayer. You ask for great things, knowing perfectly well that he is deaf. And then you continue being just as unpleasant and unhappy. Then, tomorrow morning, say a good prayer again. It is a good arrangement, a good accommodation. Rabindranath, in his poem, is pointing to a tremendous truth. Do you really want God? Do you really want the truth? Do you really want silence? If you ask, and you are honest, you will feel ashamed. You will have to accept that you don't really want these things. You are only pretending to meditate, because you know you have been meditating for many years and nothing happens. There is no fear. You can meditate and nothing happens. As soon as something begins to happen, then there are problems. When something begins to grow in your life that does not grow in the hearts of the crowd around you, you will be a stranger. You will be an outsider. And the crowd never forgives strangers. The crowd never forgives outsiders. It annihilates them. It has to annihilate them to preserve its own peace of mind. A man like Jesus Christ is a continual nuisance because he reminds you that you too can have the same beauty, the same grace, the same truth, and that hurts. It makes you feel inferior, and no one wants to feel inferior. And there are only 2 ways not to feel inferior. One is to become superior. That is an arduous way, and very long, dangerous, because you will have to move forward alone. The simple way is to finish off that superior man. Then the whole crowd is composed of equal people. No one is superior, no one is inferior. Everyone is cunning, everyone is a liar, everyone is a criminal in their own way. Everyone is envious, everyone is ambitious. Everyone is in the same boat, and they understand each other perfectly. And no one causes any stir about truth, about God, about meditation. People are happy without any Buddha, without any Socrates, without any Zarathustra, because these people are like high mountain peaks, and you seem so small, like a pygmy. That hurts. They say that camels never go near mountains. They have chosen to live in the desert, because in the desert they are walking mountains, but next to the mountains they will seem like ants, and that hurts. The easiest way is to forget about mountains, to say, all those mountains are mythological, fictitious. The reality is the desert. So you enjoy the desert, you enjoy your ego, and you also enjoy prayer. God, please free me from the ego. Make me humble, knowing perfectly well that he does not hear, that no prayer is granted. You can pray for anything without fear, because you will remain the same, and you will also have the satisfaction of praying for great things. That is why people, without becoming religious, become Christian, become Hindu, become Muslim. They are not religious people at all. These are strategies to avoid being religious. A religious person is simply religious. He is neither Hindu, nor Muslim, nor Christian, nor Buddhist. It is not necessary. He is truthful. He is sincere. He is compassionate. He is loving. He is human, so human that he almost represents the divine in the world.